to dining the Viking Cruises way, where world-class cuisine, inspired by the destinations you sail, meets Viking's signature elegance. Viking's Darren Dolan is here to help us explore the flavors that make every voyage unforgettable.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Ted, thanks for having me. And Shelley as well. Thank you so much indeed. Always look forward to these events. And you may have picked a topic that's very close to my heart. One is my passion, one is which is my hobby. One that used to be the industry that was in myself. So I've always got a great passion and really hold up on the culinary aspect. And I got to say, this is one thing. Ted, you just asked me how long I've been in the company, and one of the features that I've seen really improve over the years is our culinary aspect. It's just something we've invested time, money, and more importantly, listen to our clients. And I think that's one of the pillars of our success, right? Is because we've got such a high repeat factor, we really do take into consideration what our guests have to say, and the feedback and the comments that they complete at the end of each journey is telling, and it's something that we've really continued to invest in and listen to the clients themselves. Yeah, let's start and look at the onboard aspect, right? Because this is where most of our meals will be had and enjoyed. And one of the beauties of it, of course, is always that focus, as we like to say, destination focused dining. We already talk about our experience as destination rich, right? Our itineraries, going back to our genesis as a river cruise company. For those who have river cruise, and hopefully have river cruise for those, you get to understand the fact that majority of your time is spent off the ship, right? Limited time on the ship, majority of time off the ship. But we've carried that over to ocean cruising as well, to really create these and curate these amazing itineraries that find us in port most of the time, as opposed to being at sea all of the time, as is the feature with many other cruise lines. So we focus on that destination. When we look at the reasons why guests are sailing with us, we always look at that like-mindedness. The thinking person's cruise is something, one of those taglines we use a lot. And the reason why guests are sailing with Viking, or traveling with us at least, is because they have a common interest, and that interest is featured on history, geography, architecture, food and wine. Food and wine is a huge reason why people travel today. So we've really embraced that with our regional cuisine, and really, making sure that we're using the greatest of ingredients. We are very fortunate because of our demand and requirement. We are able to capture some of the best suppliers and purveyors, particularly in Europe, when we look at when we look at our river ships. One thing we'll look at here on the rivers as well, one of my favorite events to attend is the signature taste of event, which really does, really immerse ourselves in the region through which we are sailing. We can cook food all day long, create amazing, but at the end of the day, it's an experience, right? Dining is an experience, and it's from what comes from the galley and how that is brought to the table, and how your places are ordered, and how you are interacting with those staff and crew members. To me, I was very fortunate just to have recently, about a month or so ago, got back off one of our ocean vessels, and stepping off that ship at the end, just saying, I'm so proud to work for this company, because at the end of the day, we all one big family, and it's those staff members that really add that magic spice, and those are the folks that create the memories and the laughter, and that's why we see folks coming back to us. So the service is absolutely important. And culinary trends, again, this goes back to listening and hearing, and keeping up with trends. we are focusing on a North American market. So, when you look at 90% of our clientele are coming from the US and Canada. So, it's very important for us to be able to, again, accommodate the needs and the requirements of those travelers, as you are all on this call today. We've seen absolutely an increase in dietary and alternative allergy-free culinary requirements. So we've heard him listen, and this has resulted in us updating our menu selections for these culinary options, for these alternatives, and just saying, I am vegetarian. Okay, there's your salad every night, or there's the Indian option, which is, very the standard. We are now really embracing this and giving great options for those dietary needs. And something else as well, the trend today, we've seen it in Europe particularly, is the trend for non-alcoholic beverages. You may all be very familiar with our Silver Spirits beverage package. And, we note we say Silver Spirits beverage package, we don't say liquor package. We have not gone away from the fact that we've always included beer, wine, sodas with our meals. Well, for our non-alcoholic travelers, we're embracing them too, and we're accommodating their needs by broadening the array of non-alcoholic cocktails. We actually took the services of an amazing mixologist out of Vienna in Austria, a European renowned mixologist, and he came up with this array of non-alcoholic cocktails. So we're not just doing the standard sweet, there's your non-alcoholic cocktail. No, these things are really curated and amazing drinks. And the fact that our clients can also enjoy non-alcoholic beer and wine in their inclusions as well. So, Ted and I were talking about earlier, just before we came online, the beauty of our product is, the beauty of the brand is the streamlined aspect to it, right? We talk about that one Viking. So whether you're on the rivers, whether you're on the oceans, whether you're in the Arctic or the Antarctic, or even here on the Mississippi, Viking is 100% owned and operated. This is very important because this allows us as a company to keep our finger on the pulse, manage all our programs. So what happens is you have that consistency through the entire fleet wherever you may be in the world. Let's look at rivers really quickly. You probably all, if you haven't already sailed with us, you've seen the videos, you've received the brochures. You always see those standard ships, right? The Viking longships that are operating on the main rivers of Europe. They are stunning vessels. We launched them in 2013, and the beauty of those vessels was we didn't have to touch a thing about them. They were award-winning from the get-go. And of course, that fleet has grown expansively. One of the beautiful features of the longships is the actual onboard herb garden that we have on board when you go up to the sun deck. These are not just for decoration. Chef and his brigade are using these fresh grown herbs, as purpose, so that's absolutely amazing to see as well. Just one of those fine little touches, right, that other lines may not be doing. The majority of our dining experience on the rivers will take place in the restaurant. The restaurant is that location for our breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Breakfast and lunches are very similar in the way that they are structured. As we look at this screen here, you'll see in the center there, it'll be all set up for, that will be then set up for the kind of the buffet, as you would. Not really a word we like to use, but for breakfast and lunches, creations will be here, but you'll always have a pasta station. You'll have an egg station here for the breakfast, but on table, you'll have the menus. And you can eat to your heart's content. We want you to eat as much as possible because you're going to work it off. So you can order from the menu, you can go up to the stations and dine to your heart's content. Breakfast and lunch will have an opening time to a closing time. Then at dinners, in order for us to really provide that high elevation of dining experience, we do have a kind of strict starting time for dinner, and that is based on whatever the daily program is at that time. This enables chef and his brigade to flow the surface. You know, if you've ever been to a galley on board a longship, it is minute, and it's absolutely mind-blowing to consider how they get this amazing food out of their small galley to everybody on board. So it helps us to flow with the service, and that really has been one of the pillars of success for us. And of course, each and every evening's menu will have its traditional options there. It's every day the chairman's choices, as we like to refer to, those everydays that are always there. There will be the daily menu, but dedicated to every menu and every evening, there will also be the local option. And there'll be an appetizer, a main, and dessert based on the destination through which we are traveling. We always like to say the best time to eat and to taste is when we're in that region itself. So the restaurant being the main location. Very, you know, again, this is also not just a dining experience, but this is where many of our guests get to meet each other and get to meet other people. And this creates this wonderful camaraderie that we have on these very intimate ships that we have. I spoke earlier about one of my favorite experiences, and I know I'm going to be going there in December. I haven't done the Christmas markets in some time, and I will be back, and I will not leave this house. My wife gets crazy about it. I will be traveling with my lederhosen because I will be ready for the taste of Germany when I'm there in Europe in December. The crew and the staff all get dressed up in the regions, and we're looking at an example of the taste of Germany here. We'll have the music, we'll have the entertainment, and of course an abundance of foods related to that region. As you can see here with the taste of Germany, you know, we have the options brought to the table. The entire restaurant is set up with these wonderful local delights. It is honestly, I love it. It's one of the highlights I'm looking forward to when I get back on board in December. So the taste of program.
Hey, Darren.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually seen you in your I've seen you in your lederhosen.
Yeah,
I think you filled out frankly quite well.
I'm gonna have to get a new pair.
Oh, you get a new pair. Huh?
Thank you. Yeah, I invested in an authentic set. I actually went shopping in Passau where I bought mine. So yeah, I think too many people have seen me in my lederhosen. Thank you.
No.
You know, high tea. This is something that we've brought over to rivers as a creation that we had on our oceans. And again, the fact that we have so many guests repeating with us, maybe have traveled on ocean first and then come to rivers and, oh, where's high tea? Well, now if we're sailing or we're doing some scenic sailing or in port, we can now create the high tea. It's on a smaller scale. It's not as grand as we find on our ocean ships, right? That we have in the winter garden, but we are still able to enjoy that. So another just little culinary secret. And then, honestly, one of my favorite places to dine is the Aquavit Terrace. Of course, weather dependent. Quite a few years ago, I was traveling on the Seine during summer months. You know, there's lovely late night sunsets. And for an entire week's cruise, my wife and I actually dined on the Aquavit Terrace. The dinner menu is kind of a truncated version to what they're offering in the restaurant, but you have a little bit of freedom because there's not a strict starting time here at the Aquavit Terrace for dinner. So it's a truncated menu, but with a bit more freedom from an opening time to a closing time, as you would. No reservations, and it's first come, first served. Of course, also then open for breakfast and lunches. The breakfast upstairs, up on the Aquavit and the lounge is more of a continental aspect. But then lunches, of course, wonderful lunches. And then when we have fine weather, we operate our grills as well. So one of the fine options there for alternate dining, as you would. If we move over to our oceans, of course, these ships are larger, not big ships. We're accommodating under 1,000 guests again. But of course, we can do so much more when it comes to culinary choices and options. In fact, we actually have 8 different dining opportunities for you when you join us on our ocean ships. One of which is a 24-hour room service with, just charcuterie and sushi and things that are just up and above what you would normally consider a room service menu. But again, in the eyes of our wonderful chairman, Mr. Torsten Hagen, he is adamant that the finest dining experience on our ships should be in the main restaurant. Specialty dining is just that. It's specialty dining, but fine dining should be enjoyed in the restaurant, as we see pictured here, and it most definitely is. Again, just as we have on our river ships we spoke about, those dedicated dinner menus that we have with the chairman's dailies, then our daily menu options, and of course always that dedicated portion of the menu to the regions through which we are sailing. And I may not have mentioned that when I was talking about rivers, but when we get to those specialty regional dining options, and I mentioned an appetizer, mains, and dessert, you can shift them, swap. You can eat anything you want. You're not dedicated just to that one item and that one menu. Eat and try. And what I love about that is there may be things on that menu, whether it be on river or ocean, that you've always wanted to try, but it's a little bit of a gamble. If you're at a restaurant, it could be a cost factor, right? Well, here you get to try for free, but there's no commitment on your behalf, and lo and behold, you might enjoy that option that you've just purchased, right? That you've just ordered and enjoyed. So the real aspect of bringing the world to the table, and nothing does that better than here at the World Cafe. Look at those tables, look at those chairs. You can see immediately very similar to what we just looked at on the Aquavit Terrace, because here on the ocean ships at the World Cafe, this is where we're going to enjoy al fresco dining. And I saw in one of the videos that Ted posted earlier, where it does state that Viking provides the most open dining, most al fresco dining of any other cruise line, and this is absolutely true. And here at the World Cafe, we can go inside or outside here, as we see pictured, go to those live cooking stations and just choose from an array of so many different foods. It's one of my favorite places to be. Always look out for the specialty of the day. There might be a soup special going on that day. We'll provide soups of the world. Of course, you cannot miss, if you so wish, the seafood bonanza that we have as well. Oh, unbelievable. And of course, breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the World Cafe. And then tipping our hat to, our abode, to everything Scandinavian, to Norway. Again, speaking about our chairman, Mr. Hagen, Mamsen's really, looking towards his mom, towards his grandmother, and those traditional recipes that have been in the family for generations, and very tip even to the plates that you see there, are all very typical of what Mr. Hagen and his mother and his grandmother had during their lives. So it's very much it's simplicity at Mamsen's. There's not a wide array. What we're looking at here will be the breakfast options. You'll see the wonderful options that we have with the fresh berries and the pancakes and the baked goods you see to the right of there, the open sandwiches during the day. It is just absolutely, and basically it's kind of a serving booth, if you would, because you wouldn't even know it's there if it's not open, because the sliding doors close and it kind of hides it off until it opens. So there's a few hours during the day, in the morning, a few hours in the afternoon, in the evening it opens up again when we have this amazing split pea soup. I know I'm just talking about a soup, but it is absolutely stunning and very popular. The chef's table, now we're looking at specialty dining. The two options I'm going to provide you now for specialty dining: no additional cost, no additional charge whatsoever. It is all based on reservations. Now, the chef's table is for the food lover. You're about to embark upon an experience. So set aside that you are going to be at these experiences for about an hour and a half. Basically, it's a course by course wine pair meal. And what we do is we have these themed menus. It could be California, it could be the Mediterranean, it could be Asian, it could be Pan-Pacific. And what happens is these menus rotate, and they will be operated for 3 nights at a time, and then we'll rotate. So if you're on board for an 8-day, obviously the 8 days is the minimum that we have, you get the opportunity to enjoy 2 different menus that we'll be offering in the chef table. So again, and if you've purchased the Silver Spirits package, the Silver Spirits beverage package, then you also enjoy the upgraded wine pairings with this meal at the chef's table. And adjacent to the chef's table, we have probably one of the most popular locations on the ship. People always rave about Manfredi's. Manfredi's Italian restaurant is absolutely phenomenal menu. We are known for the bistec, right? So there's ribeye that's been marinated for a couple of days, but your fresh made pastas, oh my goodness, pair that with some wonderful Italian wines. You would not believe that you're at sea. It truly is an amazing experience at Manfredi's as well. Again, just as it is in the chef's table, no additional cost, no additional charge, just the reservations to need. And something that Ted had asked me about earlier, cooking classes. Here at the kitchen table, not to be confused with the chef's table, but the kitchen table where we can do cooking classes. It's also the location for one of our shore experiences, one of our shore excursions, the Shopping with the Chef program. When we go to the market visit, you sign up for this as you would be going for a shore excursion. There is additional cost for it. This group of 12 people maximum, because that's how many cooking spot stations we have here at the kitchen table. We will go along with chef and in the morning, go to the market, purchase the produce, come back, do prep work, and then return in the evening to finalize and finish everything together. And then that group will dine together at the kitchen table as well. Kitchen table as well can also be one of the locations when we do some of our reserved wine tastings. And again, as I mentioned, also a location for cooking classes on board as well. But it's not just on board the ships, of course, where we get to enjoy culinary. As I spoke about earlier, one of the popular reasons for people traveling these days is to immerse themselves in the culinary aspects of the regions of the world. And of course, we embrace that here at Viking. So many of our shore experiences are themed around the food. And in many cases, we're not, it could be the taste of Strasbourg, taste of a city, taste of a region. It could be going into an area and getting to hands-on, like we're looking here with the stroopwafel, right? We actually make the stroopwafel cooking when we're in the Netherlands. Dishes that we can enjoy, get to learn while we're there, but quite simplistic, bring it back home. Make it for our friends, make it for our neighbors and family members, and share what is goulash? How did I learn to make goulash? What's the secret ingredient to goulash? Of course, it's smoked paprika. It comes from Budapest. Where did you buy that? Oh, I bought it at the market when I was at Budapest with Viking. And really, so your experience that you enjoyed on your Viking cruise comes home with you, and you share that with friends and family. And that entices others to come too. So again, hands-on, immersive, educational, wine and chocolate. Why does that not go together? Truffle hunting in Bordeaux as well, in other regions. Learn how, these dogs are trained to sniff out the truffle. And while the owner of the farm is out there with a dog and we join them, the lady of the house is at home and she's creating this amazing menu for us for all these wonderful options, all these dining opportunities, all and used with the truffles that we find on this farm. Again, it's something that you get to experience, you get to touch, you get to taste, and you get to bring back home that memory and those menus and the recipes rather, and continue to share. So, there's absolutely a true immersion when it comes to culinary. And again, one of the main reasons that we do so well, that guests come back to us. And again, you can't beat it. You really cannot beat it.
Mute. Okay. Thank you so much for all of that great information. It made me hungry. Can just imagine. I'm gonna just give you some of the comments here in the chat.
Sure.
Questions. Sean noted that he's been on 3 river cruises with Viking, all in Europe. And he likes the food. He likes that there are many selections for lunch as well. Appreciates the focus on local cuisine and menus centered on the region that you're sailing in, but also nice to have a standard option if the local menu doesn't sound as good, or just to have an option.
Indeed.
He enjoyed
one thing Sean said, he's not getting enough brochures or emails. Does Viking, I'm being sarcastic, does Viking ever send any? I mean, people are like, we don't hear from you for years.
I was away for 2 weeks and we stopped on mail. I came back. We haven't been sending the big brochures of late. I could build a house again, I tell you.
Thank you.
If you're not receiving them, let us know. We'll make sure you get them daily.
Okay. Sean also noted that it's fun to see the crew decked out in the authentic dress, and it's authentic. We have, Sean's about to do his first ocean cruise next April. And we have Patricia, who said she did the Shores and Fjords in June, loved the World Cafe.
Yeah. I didn't know exactly that itinerary. I just did Reykjavik up to Svalbard in the North Cape, and then down to the North Cape into the Arctic. And I tell you, that time of the year in June, I'm sure that they'll agree with the midnight sun. Oh my gosh, being out on the World Cafe, being outside, with crab legs, do me a favor. It was amazing. Thank you.
That sounds great.
Cruises. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Here we go. Let's see.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan, for sharing your insight, and thank you for joining us for this special presentation. For information and to make a reservation, please contact Shelley at shelley@cruisinwithted.com or call 406-360-8059 or simply scan the QR code. Your Viking dining experience is waiting.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Darren.